What even is the 50-30-20 rule? I'm glad you asked. It's something that has three main categories that enables you to easily navigate your finances without making it overly complicated. And in this video, we're gonna go into these three categories and we're gonna talk about how you can utilize this rule to be able to get ahead with your finances. So up first, we have needs, and needs are at 50%. Now, the question then becomes, what are your needs? Needs are expenses that you absolutely must have. These are things like housing, utilities, transportation, and healthcare costs are gonna go under your needs. What else is gonna go under this? Any sort of debts that you have, at least the minimum payments for those each and every single month, that's gonna go under this 50% category. Also, the bare minimum of basic clothing.
For the bare necessities.
You need to be able to buy some clothing. You need to have money set aside for that, and that's gonna go under this 50%, as well as living expenses would be things like going out to the grocery store and these kinds of things. You can't expect to be able to go through life without these kinds of things, and these need to be considered under the 50% that is gonna go to those needs, and those are gonna be under the 50%. Next up, for the sake of this rule, we're gonna choose to consider them things that you may want to have, but you don't absolutely have to have in order to live. In this category, it includes things like dining out. Believe it or not, if you don't go to a restaurant every single week, then you'll still be okay and your basic needs are still gonna be met. Maybe you would have to say no to going out to the movies or going out to a restaurant every so often to be able to cut back on these ones. So that's gonna be one thing. Also, dare I say, things like cable TV. Now, many of us don't have cable TV anymore, but think about things like Netflix or Disney Plus or Hulu or Amazon Prime. All of these things, you may have all of them and you may be paying for all of them, but they are not basic needs for us as people. One quick tip on this one, if you have family members who already have those subscriptions, maybe you can use their subscription so you don't have to pay for your own. Think also of things like shopping trips. This could be a lot of different things. Shopping trips for a new purse that you don't necessarily need, or whatever it may be, whatever it is that you like to go shopping for. Vacations, memberships. Think of an expensive gym membership. Now, the truth of the matter is, it's so easy to get these wants confused with needs. I need my subscription to Netflix. I need my subscription to Hulu. If I don't have access to the newest show whenever it comes out, then I am going to die. Perhaps you wouldn't die if you didn't have access to these things, and you could potentially find a lot more time in your day if you didn't have access to as many entertainment choices. A simple way to decide if this is a need or a want is to ask yourself, can I live without this? Now, you may say that you can't live without your favorite show on Netflix, and if that's the case, then that is a separate issue that you may want to think about. However, you need to consider and be honest with yourself about the things that you're paying for each and every single month, and you don't even realize how much money you're spending on these things that you don't actually need to have. An important thing to think about when it comes to your wants, you may cut out some of these wants for a time so that you're able to pay off debt, or so that you're able to build up your savings faster than you would otherwise if you had kept all of these categories. Now, last up is our example of the 20%. So 20% of your income needs to go to either paying off debt or paying towards savings. Savings could be towards a house, it could be saving towards a car, or it could be saving towards a vacation that you've been wanting to go to, but you just don't have the money set aside to be able to do so. These saving categories are going to enable you to have more freedom in the future by setting aside the money now so that you can prepare for the future. Now, also in this category under the 20%, you're going to want to use some of this money to pay above and beyond on some of your debts potentially, so that you're able to pay those off quicker and get those out of the way so that you're able to be in a better financial position. Know this, if you have credit card debt and that credit card debt is at 15, 20, 24%, then if you pay that off, you just gained a 24% return on your money by paying it off instead of paying that interest. Because if you allow it to continue to gain interest, that 24% interest is really gonna hurt you. And I don't know where you could get a return like that except for the stock market back in 2021. Now let's bring this all together. Let's imagine that after tax, you have made $4,000. This is your take-home pay every single month. And this is not taking into consideration any sort of retirement payments that may come out of your paycheck or any sort of insurance payments. This is just your take-home pay after taxes. So let's say that's $4,000 in a month. So if you're using this system, then $2,000 is how much money you're gonna have to spend on those needs. So that means everything from paying towards your mortgage, everything from paying towards that transportation and paying towards basic living needs. Those things that I had mentioned before, those are the things that are gonna be under that $2,000. You're gonna wanna make sure that you're able to fit all of those under the $2,000. Now, next up, we have the 30%, which goes under the wants. This is gonna be $1,200 based off our $4,000 a month. That $12,000 is gonna fit in things like vacation. It's gonna fit in things like any sort of subscriptions that you really wanna keep. That's gonna need to fit under the $1,200. Next up, and last but not least, is our $800, which will be 20% of our income is gonna go towards paying off debt early or putting money towards an emergency fund or a savings account, whichever is gonna be best in your particular situation. Again, if you haven't paid off your debt and that is a high interest debt, then you're gonna wanna pay that off first because you're gonna get the best return on your money for that. Whether or not this system is right for you, it really depends on your specific situation. If you're finding that you're not able to have all of your needs under that 50% of your income, then you may want to consider a couple things. You may be at a job where you're not making enough money for the kind of house or the kind of rent payment that you find yourself in at this time. And so that may mean that you need to look into a different job that is able to pay you more so that you're able to afford the house that you live in. So the important thing is that you are keeping track of your finances. Use an app like Mint, which is gonna be able to help keep track of all of your accounts by being one central location where you can connect your bank account, your credit card, your loans, everything that you have, and then it can keep track of where you're at, how much money that you have coming in, how much money you have going out every month, and then you're able to see very easily, wow, I'm spending $200 on things that I don't need to every single month. Maybe I can cut that back to $50. Maybe I can cut that back to $100 a month. And then you have an extra $100 in your budget to be able to spend on things like paying off debt or paying towards your needs if you need to have that extra money for that category. Now that you know this rule, you can actually adjust it for your specific situation. If you find that you need to go ahead and adjust it so that you are spending more of your income on your needs, then do so. If you're able to spend more money on your debt or your savings, then do so. If you can put that up to 30, 35%, then you're gonna be able to get ahead much faster by cutting more of that percentage out of your wants. This is a good general structure to be able to help you get started with budgeting, which is gonna help you get ahead with your finances, which is gonna help you long term. It may be difficult at first, it may be difficult in the beginning, but with time, with practice, and with dedication, it will get easier. Now tell me down in the comments below, what is it that you found has been most helpful for you when it comes to budgeting? This has been Zach helping you with your finances so that you can get ahead financially. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.